Hello and welcome back to our next value. My name is Jan Robert from Key Leadership Institute in South Africa. And today we're going to have a wonderful value of common sense. It's going to be exciting. And I've done all these as Facebook Lives, but there is interaction with all the people. So I've redone them again to cut out all the conversation. So it keeps it down to around about 10 minutes somewhere. And these are all excerpts of a two-page value, which we use in values-based leadership program. So common sense. Now that is something that is most interesting because somebody once said, common sense is neither common nor sense a lot of the time, which is quite interesting. But common sense is actually the knack of seeing things as they are and doing things as they ought to be done. I love that, and it's by a guy called C.E. Stowe. It was a quote by him, and I love this because that exactly says what it is. Yeah, what it is, it says on the box, if you like. But common sense is sound logic, practical sense, good reasoning that is searching for simple but very effective and usual ways, and useful ways even, to accomplish things. Now, these are all wonderful insights into what common sense is, and practical common sense is like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger our minds become. And of course, some of this is obvious, but like an example of common sense is if you walk in the rain without any umbrella or anything, you're going to get wet. Now, that might seem logical, but that's how it is. See, if you put an umbrella up or even a raincoat on, whatever, but an umbrella, for example, if you take an umbrella, you stay dry, even in the rain. Now, people say, of course, everybody knows that. Yes, but I use a very simple example to show what common sense is. But you know people that have, I know people that haven't got an ounce of common sense in them. And I said, but whoa. I sometimes go, duh. But common sense is, to me, it's simple. And I don't always get it right either, because there is always room for improvement. I know that, for me too. But there is some people who just don't see things that way. And you know them. It might be you. But here, there is help. There is help available. And will help you to get an insight into this, and also some steps to follow to get a little bit more common sense, or commonsensical, if that's a word. But people can be highly educated and still not practice using common sense. See, education is of great value, but if we don't combine it with common sense, life can become a lot more complicated than necessary. There's all kinds of stories about this, that sometimes that happens. And there is, as I said, there's nothing wrong with education, but some people are so very educated, and I know people like that common sense has left the building. So if you can combine this, as it says, it makes life less complicated. That's a choice. See, sometimes we must run into bad experiences in order to learn the truth about common sense. See, when we practice common sense, we save ourselves a lot of problem and stress. Now, that on itself should be enough of a reason to actually learn a little bit more about common sense. But sometimes we as I say, we walk into situations, and afterwards we think, I should have known better. Using a little bit of common sense would have really helped. So that actually talks a little bit into common sense. And again, as you know, some of the benefits that I'm going to talk about, two benefits every time. And some of the benefits of using common sense is that you will be better prepared to adapt to change in the way you do things. And that's very, very powerful. But also another simple one is that you will be grounded in reality and able to detect when someone is not real or their motives are selfish. Now, that's something you might not have expected from the value of common sense, but there is so much value in that even those kind of things are benefits when you practice better common sense. I'm not saying we don't practice it, but we can all get better at those, unless you score yourself a perfect 10. we do a scoring system from 1 to 10 as well every week. 1 is that there is a lot of room for improvement, and 10 you think you're perfect, and somewhere in between. And we always keep away from the 5 because we don't want to sit on the fence. Now, there are some of you learned people say, but 5 is not halfway, 5.5 is. Okay, somewhere in between, but you get a picture. We don't score 5. So some characteristics of a person with common sense. Now, get this. These people embrace new methods when they see a more efficient and simpler way. Is that not common sense? Why do we keep making things difficult for ourselves when right in front of us sometimes, or somebody tells us there is an easier and better and a more efficient way to do things? Common sense, isn't it? It's not about the rain and the umbrella, but it's still common sense. And some of these things are not quite as easy to see sometimes. And that's why we talk about what common sense is. That's why we have these kind of things, so we can all become better. And the second characteristic is that these people are more level-headed, efficient, and keep contact with reality. They are transparent with their thoughts and actions because they have nothing to hide. What other value does that talk into? Transparency, integrity, and so many more. I mean, you see it every time. I keep mentioning it, but all these values, you'll find some of it back in every single value. That's why they intertwine, and that's why they stack on top of each other. Every time we learn something about a value, that's why every one of them you should take steps on to improve, because it improves you as a human being, a human person. Yeah, one of them. Now, of course, you know this already. I'll give you 2 steps to follow to grow your common sense. And the first one is keep an open mind. Now, that's very important. See, always be open to changes or adjustments. Yeah, this does not mean all change is good, but you can discover better ways if you are open to seeing them. You know, we talk about it. The mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. You can get that picture. Closed parachute. But the mind is the same. You know, and we crash sometimes if we don't keep an open mind, because then if we're closed, then we have arguments, we've got confrontations, we have conflicts and all the above. We need to ask for forgiveness because we have no restraint. Do you see these values coming back? But yeah, a mind once expanded by common sense will never go back to its original thinking. Get that? See, we were born with our eyes closed and our mouths open. It takes a lifetime to reverse it. I actually like this when I did this the first time. I mean, when you think of that, we were born with our eyes closed and our mouth open. And, you know, you hear the other side of it. You know, we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them accordingly. Now, for some people, you might know some people who are more mature, and they still act as if their eyes are closed and their mouth is open. You know, no common sense, and they talk, and you know them. I hope it's not you, but if it is, hey, there is hope for you. Keep an open mind. And then the second step you can take is do what you know is right. It's as simple as that. Now, do the right things rather than the things that are acceptable. Now, that's powerful part of this, because how often have we done things not because we really want to do them or we know they're right, but we want to fit in. We want to be acceptable to our peer group. Peer pressure is so powerful. And also, you know, bullies use this, you know, that they want you to do things and we react rather than respond. I can talk from personal experience how I just used to accept it, and on the outside I was happy as a young kid, from the age of 5 to 11 years old. People called me names, and it wasn't right. But at that time I didn't know about all of this. I mean, there was maybe no right time, but I was on the outside, I was happy, on the inside I was miserable. But so do what you know is right, and the right thing rather than what is acceptable. It's a powerful step, but what action will you take right now to get better at common sense? You know, keeping an open mind when somebody talks to you, or when something comes to you that you might need to change something you do, or you might need to change your opinion. Again, it talks about the confrontation as well, but keep an open mind, and, you know, make adjustments when necessary, and also do what is right. When you take one of these steps, or another one you can take, not next week, today, if it's late already for today, tomorrow, but take action on what you have just learned, and you will again improve your life one step at a time. When you do, I will see you for the next value.